All right, thanks, guys. We are currently 4-0 in our last 4 board member plays on patreon.com/rockpage. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season. Link for that site is in the description section below. That is patreon.com/rockpage. All right, let's go ahead and get into Wednesday's college basketball action. And we're going to begin with Wake Forest taking on Boston College. That's going to be a 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off at the Conti Forum. Right now, Boston College minus 2.5, total 145.5. We saw a half a point fade of BC and movement downward on the total. Boston College open minus 3, down to minus 2.5. Total open 146.5, down to 145 and a hook. 56% of the consensus are leaning toward Boston College. 55% shaded toward the over. Right now, Boston College, they finished out the season last year, losing 6 out of their last 7. They're also just 1-6 straight up in their last 7 conference games. I think this is a pretty good number for Wake Forest on the away from home here. I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and take Wake Forest plus 3 and the under 145.5 in that game. Next matchup, IUPUI taking on Butler, 6:30 Eastern tip-off at the Hinkle Fieldhouse. Butler's minus 19, total 143.5. We saw a half a point fade of Butler and movement downward on the total. The Bulldogs open 19.5, down to minus 19. Total open 145, down to 143.5. 68% of the consensus are leaning toward Butler. 52% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Jaguars of IUPUI, they finished out the season last year, failing the cover in 8 out of their last 10. Not a great covering team at the end of the season last year. They're also 0-5 straight up in their last 5 head-to-head matchups with Butler. Now, the Bulldogs on the other side, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 at home, hosting IUPUI. And when it comes to this total, Butler is 80% to the under in their last 5 games played in the month of November. I'm going to lean toward the chalky favorite in this one. Give me Butler minus 19 and the under 143.5 in that game. Next matchup, Mercer, St. John's, 6:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. St. John's minus 11, totals 153.5. We're seeing pretty good two-way action with regard to the sides. We did see movement upward on this total, however. Once again, the Red Storm opened and remained minus 11.5. Total open 152.5, up to 153 and a hook. 71% are leaning St. John's, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, Mercer is plus 540 on the money line. Now, the Bears of Mercer finished last season failing to cover their last 6 ball games. They're also just 2-13 straight up in their last 15 away from home. St. John's on the other side, 7-0 straight up in their last 7 games played in November. They also are 13-4 straight up in their last 17 as the home team. Keep in mind, Greg Williams is questionable with a back injury. Now, total-wise, both teams finished the season 67% to the over in their, I guess, how would I say it? I guess in their games to finish up the season. They weren't 67% to the over for the year. They were 67% to the over in their last handful of games collectively. I kind of botched that stat there, but I think we're going to see some points here. So with all that said and done, give me St. John's minus 11 and the over 153.5 in that game. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick timeout. I surely need it. And take a quick timeout. I just want to welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Wednesday's college basketball action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/rockpage, where we are 4-0 in our last 4 board member plays. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that site. We do daily premium personal plays on that site, starting at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. They are my personal plays. Now, what we do here on YouTube, we'll handicap or predict the entire slate of games. You can't do that in real life. You're not going to make money betting every single game, every single side, every single total. It's not going to happen. what we do on Patreon is we focus on a couple of them. We really kind of nail it down, and I share with you my personal plays, my personal selections. So anyway, when you lose, I lose. When I win, you win. We are 100% on the same side. And so although I feel bad after a loss, I feel bad for you. Nobody's feeling bad for me, and we both lost. So anyway, just want to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Link for that site is in the description section below. And guys, you can access my current record for free right on the homepage. You don't even have to sign up for anything. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more lines and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Wisconsin, Green Bay taking on Purdue, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off at the Mackey Arena. Purdue's minus 22.5, total 153 and a hook. We're seeing heavy money on Purdue. No real surprise there. We saw a 4.5-point move toward the Boilermakers. We're also seeing movement downward on the total. Purdue opened 18, up to 22.5. Total opened 154, down to 153 and a hook. 69% are leaning Purdue, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Green Bay is plus 24.70 on the money line. Purdue 6-3 against the number in their last 9 to finish out the season last year. They also finished 10-0 straight up in their last 10 at home. Green Bay on the other side 5-1 to the under in their last 6 games. That's the Phoenix of Wisconsin, Green Bay. But I'm not worried about them. I'm all focused on Purdue. I'm going to lean Boilermakers minus 22.5 and the under 153.5 in that game. Next matchup, Florida State taking on Pitt, 8 o'clock, Peterson Event Center. Florida State's minus 4.5, total 143 and a hook. Saw a 2-point move toward the Seminoles and movement upward on the total. Florida State opened 2.5, up to minus 4.5. Total open 143, up to 143 and a hook. Right now, Pittsburgh, 5-1 straight up in their last 6 at home, taking on the Noles. They're also 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Florida State as well. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it up, and take Pittsburgh plus 5 and the over 143.5 in that game. And we're going to slide into our next matchup. It is going to be Southeast Missouri taking on Vanderbilt. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off there. Vandy is minus 14.5, total at 146 and a hook. We saw a 2-point fade of Vanderbilt and movement upward on the total. The Commodores opened 16.5, down to minus 14.5. Total open 145, up to 146 and a hook. 71% are leaning Vanderbilt, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Red Hawks of Southeast Mizzou are plus 950 on the money line. Now, Vanderbilt, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they lost their last 10 straight to finish the season. They're also 0-5 against the spread in their final 5 games. On the other side, Southeast Mizzou, 7-1 to the over in their last 8 to finish out the season. I'm going to lean toward the Red Hawks in this matchup here. I'm going to lean Southeast Missouri plus 15 after buying the hook in the over 146.5 in that game. And we're going to slide into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Cincinnati taking on Ohio State, 8:30 Value City Arena. The Buckeyes are minus 5.5, total 140 and a hook. We saw a 0.5 point move toward Ohio State and movement downward on the total. The Buckeyes open 5, up to 5.5. Total open 141, down to 140 and a hook. 59% are leaning Buckeyes, 54% shaded toward the under. Right now, Cincinnati's plus 225 on the money line. Trevor Moore and Prince Toyambi are out indefinitely for the Bearcats, since he also failed to cover in 10 out of their final 12 games of the past season. They're 1-4 ATS in their last 5, taking on the Big Ten. Ohio State on the other side, 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games, played in the month of November. They're also 3-0 against the spread in their last 3, taking on the Bearcats, if you're into historical trends. Now, total-wise, Cincy is 60% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to buy the hook, slide it down, and take Ohio State minus 5 in the under 140.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I like Ohio State minus 5 under 140.5. Southeast Missouri plus 15 over 146.5. Pittsburgh plus 5 over 143 and a hook. Purdue minus 22.5, under 153 and a hook. St. John's minus 11, over 153 and a half. Butler minus 19, under 143 and a hook. And last but certainly not least, I like Wake Forest plus 3 in the under 145 and a half in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/Brock Page. Shout out to CQP, Underboss, Sauce Sensei, Master Drip Lord, Billy Boogaloo, Aaron D, Who Loves Me, Jerome Jerry Watkins, Stephen Lewis, Aldo Mayland, Brian Williams, Shotgun Shell 80, Jay Norman, Keyshawn Squire, Ronnie Christie, Sammy Elio, and last but certainly not least, shout out to Almighty Addo TV. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 4-0 in our last 4 board member plays on that website. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that site as well. We do daily premium personal plays on that site. They differ from the YouTube picks. YouTube, we handicap every single game on the slate. We do not do that on Patreon. We really focus down on 2 or 3 premium personal selections that I personally have action on. That's the difference between YouTube and Patreon. We have a bunch of different membership tiers and packages that you can subscribe to, beginning at just $1.99 per month. You can also access my current record for free right on the homepage. You don't have to pay for anything. All you got to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Wednesday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.